Luke's Journal, inspiring faith at work.
Hi, welcome to this episode of Luke's Journal vlog and podcast, where you'll be focusing on missions and sacrificial service and chatting to a few people who have been the editors of the Luke's Journal over the couple of years. And first up, we have someone I've had the privilege of working with for a few years, Catherine Hollier, who's the current editor of Luke's Journal. So thanks for joining us, Catherine.
A pleasure.
Can you tell us, start off a little bit about yourself, what you normally do during the week?
Sure. I'm a GP. I work part-time. I work Wednesdays, Thursdays, Fridays down the street, and I have 2 half days at my home practice. And part-time is perfect for me. If I work full-time, I've got about 6 weeks in me and then I'm done.
So you've been the editor of Luke's Journal for a while. How did you first get involved with editing Luke's Journal?
I always read the Luke's Journal when it arrived in the post, and in particular, I hated typos or terrible grammar. So I remember thinking, I want to fix that. And then after a while, I think David Brown at that stage wanted people to read through articles and give a short summary of that. And I thought, I can do that. So myself and Winnie Chen and Grace Leo got started in trying to get a print version that was really good, but also we could see that there really needed to be an online version, and we were very keen about that.
That is amazing, going from having a small involvement and writing a few letters to the editorial team to getting more involved and now being the editor of the team itself. I just wanted to know, during this process as part of your work with Luke's Journal, how has God been able to use you to glorify Him through your role?
I guess one of the things was that it felt like there was only 600 people who were reading the print version, and now there's well over 20,000, 18,000 in Australia and 3,000 overseas. And that's really fantastic to see that there are many, many people who are being encouraged by the content of Luke's Journal. And I think as we work in a culture that's often anti-Christian, it's really helpful to have stories from other people about how to integrate faith and practice, both from practical tips and different ways of doing it, as well as just hearing encouraging stories from people's life experience.
And you've seen the journal grow in readership from a few hundred to 1,000 to even more, and now even expand internationally. There are lots of exciting things happening. What's your vision as the editor of Luke's Journal for the future?
I guess it would be good for it to not only be encouraging people in health, which is obviously its primary role, but also that it would be encouraging people in other areas. So education, Christian schools, there's a lot of things where the topics in medicine are relevant to teachers as well. Also, Bible colleges, as Bible colleges grapple with various ethical dilemmas, and there are many that come up in medicine. And lastly, universities, hospitals, those kinds of things, it would be good for it to be part of the curriculum so that people could look up stuff in this field. Yeah. And churches as well. So churches often have to think about the questions that Luke's Journal addresses. Yes.
And I'm sure with the goals and vision this big and how you've seen the journal grow already, there's been some challenges and difficult times. What are some of the challenges that you face, and how have you gone about overcoming them?
I guess time is one of the things that is most difficult. All of us are volunteers. All of us have very demanding day jobs and often do shift work as well, and many hours. So it is difficult to commit to things sometimes for any length of time. I know when I first started, as soon as putting one journal issue to bed, you'd have to pick up the next one and be writing to authors to get the next one up and running. And that was an exhausting and tiring kind of rhythm that I was I knew was not sustainable. So one of the things that we've done is that we've got teams for each issue, so that each overseer just looks after one issue. You know that one lot of 3 months of the year will be really busy, but after that you're done, and you can do other things the rest of the time. As well, I think succession planning is really important. So as well as a senior editor, we're hoping to have a junior editor in each issue, so that if people are unable to continue, that there's somebody in the wings who can step in, who knows the job, who's been working with you, and who's able to take up that. And so passing the baton on is an important principle. And lastly, having little teams to do things. So we might have a Facebook team or an advertising team or Instagram or whatever else it is, but little teams so that if somebody's studying for exams, or somebody's going overseas, or somebody's sick, or some other circumstance means that you can't do it, there are other people who know the job and who are looking after it together. I think it's more fun too when people are working together rather than just individual in their own silo of a job.
And along with these challenges, the difficulties, there's also been lots of highlights and things that have been real celebrations along the time. It's been a pleasure to even be part of this journey with you on the team. What are some of the highlights and the celebratory moments that you've had working with the Luke's Journal team?
Yeah. So I guess it's a joy at the end of every journal to read it and think, wow, that's such great content. I really enjoy that. So as the articles come in and as I read them, I often think, oh, this is great stuff. I'm so glad that lots of people will get to read this. So that's great joy, just the quality of the journal, the encouragement there that is, and the practical tips. On a personal note, I feel a little bit like a mother hen for the team. So there are my peers who are about the same age, who oversee journals with me, and that's lovely to see them at different times when there's national conference or board meetings or whatever. But also there's people who are coming through. So there's people who are getting married or having kids or doing GP training or other sorts of training. So joining them with the highs and lows of life along their journeys is wonderful. And when we travel around Australia, it's been really nice to get to meet people in person whom we've previously only met online. But it is such a great joy.
Oh, that sounds great. And I'm sure it must be a particular highlight seeing a lot of people you worked with on Zoom for so long, finally meeting them in person and getting to experience spending some time with them when you've worked with them so long on Zoom. So that must be a really rewarding part of being part of the team.
It is very much so.
And I'm wondering, just before we finish off, there's probably a few people listening who might be interested in joining the team for Luke's Journal and wondering what that might involve. What would be your quick pitch or plug to get people who might be interested to think about joining the team?
Tick, just do it. I think if you hop online and hop onto our webpage, there's a Get Involved page, so you can see all the different things that might be part of Luke's Journal. So it might be writing, it might be proofing, it might be being part of the team. So by all means, have a look there. And then shoot me an email at lukesjournalcmdfa@gmail.com, and I'd love to get in touch with you.
Well, thanks so much for speaking with me today, Catherine. It's been a pleasure to also work with you as part of the team, and it's very exciting seeing where Luke's Journal will be headed to in the future. So keep your eyes open, and if you are interested, feel free to reach out, and I'm sure Catherine would love to speak to you.
Indeed.